All right, what's up, guys? My name is Zach, and today I am judging even more of your guys' cars. Last week, I judged the first half. Now we're going to do the second half here. If you'd like to submit your cars for a future video, the email is down at the bottom. And if you're okay with me reviewing it, if you're unaware, I do car reviews on this channel. It's a big chunk of the channel where I drive the cars, film myself driving them, talk about them, and stuff like that. If you're okay with that, when you email me, please say that. Please mention, hey, I'm cool with you reviewing it. Here's my location. I actually have a notebook. I write everyone's name down, email and car and location. And so, if I'm driving out to California one time, which I'd like to do, and hey, say you're in Nebraska, you're in Oklahoma, you're in, any of those middle states, I'll hit you up on the way out, come meet up, film your car on my way. It's a win-win because I'd love to see everyone's cars and film as much as possible. So with that rant out of the way, let's get back to reviewing some cars. So starting where we left off, this is from Arto. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. A-A-R-T-O. Arto. He said, hello, my name is Arto, and I have a 92 Passat Estate. It's been off the road for about 3 years now due to rust. As I'm sure you can tell, it's really rusty and scratched up. It's been in my family since 2005 and was imported into Estonia, where I live, from Germany. Just a few weeks ago, I put the coilovers on the front. The bottom rear bolts are stuck, and it's still sitting funny right now. Other than the coilovers, the car is stock. I guess it's okay if you want to review it, but I'm guessing that you won't be in Estonia anytime soon. Plus, it doesn't run as of now with the batteries toast, or at least that's what I think the problem is. It has a 1.8-liter 8-valve inline-4 engine with 300,000 kilometers on it. Overall, the car has served me and my family well. Best regards. So this is really, really cool, just because I haven't really seen anything like this. And of course, to get a message from Estonia is really, really unique. I love it. I mean, I think if you can get this thing running again, that would be really, really cool. I love the front end of it. Looks so European to me, and I don't think we really got anything that is too much like it here in the US. And thank you so much for your submission. Next is from Louis, and they just sent 4 pictures of their RX-8. Gotta love an RX-8. They did include a picture of it shooting some pretty massive flames. I like it. The car looks really, really clean. It doesn't seem to have the rear fender rot that a lot of RX-8s suffer from. And yeah, I'd love to know the story, a little bit more of this. I don't know if that mesh grille in the front is stock. I don't recall seeing that on RX-8s, but I'm also not as well versed with RX-8s as I am with RX-7s. But thank you, Louis, for your submission of the RX-8. So this one is from Tyler. He says, hey, my name is Tyler. I've got a 1987 Toyota Supra and a 2016 Honda Civic Coupe. I blew the head gasket on the Supra and I'm still in the process of putting it back together after replacing it. That's why most of the pics in the garage are super dusty. The pic of the front is an older picture. Only mods are the exhaust, coilovers, wheels, and OEM wing. The only mod done to the Civic is an AEM intake. Gotta keep it reliable. Love the show and been using Tough Stuff per your recommendation. Can confirm it works magic. Yes, Tough Stuff. It's this spray-on degreaser sort of like cleaning product. Works absolute magic. I cannot recommend that product enough, and hopefully maybe one day I'll get a sponsorship from them. But the Supra looks really, really cool. Looks great. I don't remember. I think those engines came with 7M engines, if I remember correctly. But overall, looks really great. I like Civics. I like the new gen Civics. I've reviewed a couple. Haven't done a coupe. I'm more of a sedan fan, but reliable dailies are great. And I believe those are the 1.5 turbos, if I'm not mistaken, which are a lot of fun, even in the most basic form. But getting back to the Supra, I love this Supra. I think this Supra looks absolutely great. I love the color of it. It seems to be pretty rust-free. And yeah, if you're down to letting me review this thing, that would be really, really cool, because it looks super clean. But thank you so much for your submission, and good luck with the Supra. So this one is from Lee. He said, a mostly stock 1983 GSL RX-7 12A JDM rotor wheels, Rat's Nest Elite, Racing Beat, header and intake manifold, 600 Holley carburetor from previous owner, runs like crap, replacing it with the stock carb. Before we go any further, I'd be weary of replacing it with the stock carb, just because the Nicky carburetor is hard to tune and hard to deal with. There are old school guys that live and die by it, but they have 20, 30, 40 years under their belt of working with it. If you're new to carburetors or like not super sold on carburetors, I would highly suggest avoiding that. However, he also has a second car, 1986 Nissan S12 200SX, also mostly stock, currently swapping the stock CA20E for a JDM CA18DE from an S13 Silvia. This is really, really cool. S12s do not exist anymore. I don't believe I've seen one in person. There was a YouTube channel, I believe, called Nimbus Drift, if I'm remembering correctly. He was drifting an S12, but these are the forgotten S chassis. And so that is really, really cool to see. This car looks immaculately clean. Really, really cool. And of course, going back to the FB, I love the rotor wheels, and it looks like it has JDM front turn signals, which is really cool. Well, JDM / Australian markets and / I think European market. I think every market but here got those front turn signal lenses, which I would really like to get those at one point for my car, just to look a little bit more unique. But really, really cool. I love the FB, and I really, really like the S12. I think that's really, really neat. All right, so this one comes from Drive to Nowhere. He says, I've had the car for 4 years. I've always had a love for all things different. What's worse than getting smoked by a Honda? An Escort Wagon running away can be a real ego breaker, I bet. So when I found this one and it was for sale by an elderly man, bad head, but new automatic transmission, OBO, or I'm junking it, it had a drop valve in the 2-liter that came with it. So to me, it was perfect. I wanted something that was different, something that was fun in the corners, but also something I wouldn't see at a red light next to me ever. I've done everything I could to lighten this car up, lightened battery, wheels, removed useless parts, dry ice the entire car. I've really done everything I could to free up some weight in this little wagon. I think I've done a great job so far. It does need a good detail as it has been off the road for a few months, but it runs strong and perfect. I'm proud of my little rice wagon. I'm moving from Florida to somewhere nearish me, which is my childhood home, in August. I think you'd be the perfect person to review my Mazda base platform. Thank you, Brian. I didn't read it earlier. The title of it is actually the car. It's a 1998 swapped Escort Wagon. This thing is really, really cool. You are moving somewhat towards me, probably still a couple hours away, but a couple doable hours. Definitely, for sure, I'm writing your name down, and we will figure something out between August and snow, because this is something I really want to get behind the wheel of, because it is, you're right, it's very, very interesting and different. The engine looks familiar. I can't put my thumb on what it looks like. It almost actually kind of looks like an RB, the cam gear cover. But yeah, I think this thing is really, really unique and something that, first of all, I've never seen and probably won't ever really see again. Really, really cool. Definitely, I will keep your information, and come August, let's get together and make something happen, because this is really, really cool. And I like that story where just some guy was ready to get rid of it and you said nuh-uh, and did what's best. So thank you for that. So this one is from Max. He said, this is my 1986 Saab 900, and it has been my project for the last year. I got it from a neighbor who left it outside under a tree for 12 years. The sunroof leaked and the entire interior was covered in mold. It didn't run for some reason, and I still wanted it. I tore the whole interior and cleaned it up, and I eventually got it running. All it needed was a head gasket and clutch. When I had the head off, I noticed some cracking and chipping, which was really unusual for a car with low miles. I put it back together anyway and drove it. However, she drank so much coolant. At this point, it had been a year into the project, and I finally picked up a new motor. That's the state of the build I am in right now, and it's just going to do bearings, rings, and I'll throw it in the car. Here's how nasty the interior was, and also the state of the paint before I polished it. This is really, really cool. I have never driven a Saab, and these things have looked so unique to me. Even late 2008, 2009 Saabs are still interesting to me. I know that they're more GM owned at the time. But this car looks great. I love the rack on top. I love, just how 80s and boxy and atrociously large the front bumper is. Really an 80s car trait that I absolutely love. But it looks like a good little project car, and I believe he actually also has another car. So yes, this is a follow-up to the Saab project. This is my 92 NA6. That is the reason I haven't finished the Saab. I've owned it just under a year, and it has been nothing but great. It also has flying Miata coils and Enki Comp 15x7 with 205 tire. My project car Instagram for both the 900 and the Miata is at MX Saab, and that's where I plan to post all my updates and projects. Thanks for the time and love your stuff. So yes, this is also a super clean Miata. I love this picture you have of the top down from an upward view of some hill. I think that's just absolutely a beautiful picture, and just that's what Miatas are all about. Top down, curvy road driving. Love the car, even if it is the 1.6, still love it. So thank you, Max, and I'll definitely be writing your information down about that. So next one is up from Jared. It is a 2007 BMW 328xi. So it is a coupe. It's an E90. I think it's an E92. Oh, it says right here. It's a mostly stock, boring 2007 328xi E92. Only thing really done to it is a muffler delete and wheels. I think this is really interesting because I believe the XI stands for all-wheel drive. An all-wheel drive coupe is very interesting, and something that BMW has been doing. They have a 2 Series all-wheel drive currently and things like that. But I think overall this is really cool. I love the E92s. I think E92s, it's a great platform. They're finally becoming pretty affordable and things like that. So I think overall, you say it's nothing special, but 328s are still really, really fun. And one of my top reviews is a 328 rear wheel drive. So thank you for your submission. So this next one is from Zane. He says it's his 2010 Toyota Matrix XR all-wheel drive with a 2AZ FE making 180 horsepower and has 160,000 miles on it. If you are ever up in my area, you can review it. It has been a pretty fun car and has a decent pull in it. This is really, really interesting. Because first of all, I have not reviewed a Toyota Matrix, but this doesn't look like the Toyota Matrix we got in the US. I could be wrong. I could very well be wrong. Maybe it's just the gen I'm not used to. It looks really, really cool, and definitely I am planning a trip to your country, sir. And so, yes, I will keep your information. So when I start planning that trip, I'll reach out because that looks very, very interesting. It's a cool little fun car. I mean, looks great. Next is from Alex. He says, "Hi, I'm the proud owner of a Trailblazer SS that I've been building for the last 3 years. So far, the truck only has basic bolt-ons and a tune. The next mods for this year consist of front coilovers and rear adjustable shocks, poured and polished heads, and a large cam with 150 to 200 shot of nitrous. I live in blank and would love for you to review the truck when it is finished next year if everything works out. Thanks." So I have done a Trailblazer SS. I would love to do this one because I think that's really interesting that you're going to run 200 shot of nitrous through an SUV. That's pretty unheard of, at least in my neck of the woods. This thing looks incredibly clean. I love the license plate, and I'm really excited to see what you do with this thing because, once it's a little bit lower, a little bit stiffer, I think this is going to be one crazy power machine. That's the thing that I don't like about SUVs, or high-powered SUVs, that is they normally don't have good suspension setups. So once you hit it, you feel like you're sitting at the back of a U-Haul truck that's accelerating. You're like, ugh. But I think what he's talking about here was some suspension upgrades. I think that's going to be a wicked, wicked ride. So thank you, Alex, for that, and I'll definitely hit you up if I'm ever in your area. I am so sorry. I am going to butcher this name. It's Abraham? I believe that's Abraham from Bahrain. If you are wondering where that is, it's close to Saudi Arabia. Here I have a few photos of my car, starting with my Suzuki Grand Vitara 2000. This was my first car. It was originally bought from the dealership back in 2000 from my sister, and she gave it to me. It's stock, nothing fancy. It's just the hard top was custom made. Next up is my 2017 Mazda 3. I got this car for my birthday. It has a cutout exhaust going down. I totally regret it. I wish I got the electronic mufflers and airbag suspension and replica wheels, which I sold because I needed a few bucks. Next up is a Plymouth Grand Fury 1989. I had a Chevy Astro, which was my first car that I bought with my own money and sold because we had to move. And someone texted me asking if I would be willing to trade for a Plymouth Grand Fury, so I said yes. Ever since then, I love the car. Weird thing about it is that it has a GM engine and a Toyota AC compressor. It's hard to find parts for the Middle East. I had to order a carburetor gasket from the US after a month and a half of looking for it. Now I'm thinking of exchanging it with a Miata because Miata is always the answer. And last but not least, my Honda Grom, which is a 2015. It has a big gun exhaust, and you can see it on my YouTube channel here. Let's see what his YouTube channel is. I'll give him a shout out for the name. It's Ibrahim K, Ebrahim space K. If you guys are interested in seeing the Grom and stuff like that. Lot to go over here. Wow, I mean, you really gave us a lot to think about. First of all, let's talk about the Mazda 3. Airbag suspension looks great. It has a little lip on it, all this great stuff. That's really, really cool to see a bagged Mazda 3 in the Middle East. Or really, I'm completely unaware of any car culture in the Middle East, so it's really cool to see this. The Plymouth Grand Fury, really, really cool. I don't know if we got that here. I don't know anything about them. I love big square bodies like this, and I love the fact that you have that out there. Again, that's a tough decision for me if you're thinking about trading it for a Mazda Miata, because I love Miata so much, but I think that car is so unique and so great, but I'm sure it just guzzles gas and things like that. And then the Suzuki, again, the Suzuki is really, really interesting. I don't recall seeing much of these here at all either. And so any Suzuki automobile, like any Suzuki car or truck, is really, really cool to me because they didn't really make too much of them. Thank you so much for your submission. That's really, really cool, and you'll have to keep me updated if you find a Miata. Next up is from Nick. How's it going, Zach? This is my 2003 Mercury Grand Marquis LS Ultimate Edition. Currently has 88,000 miles on the odometer. I bought it with 82,000 miles from a used car lot that specializes in luxury cars. She's had 4 previous owners, and they all seem to have taken care of her well. Still has the air ride suspension. Everything works. I've invested countless amounts of hours and tears into her, and she's never let me down. First of all, these pictures are great that you have of the car. I reviewed one of these maybe a little over a year and a couple months ago. I love these things. I think really it's a great sort of step up. I love Crown Vics, but I think this is really a step up from that. The car looks really, really clean. I'm glad that you're keeping it pristine, because I think come 10 years from now, 10, 20 years from now, I think these are going to be nearly collector's items. And so if you can keep it clean, it seems like that's your goal. I think that'll be really well. So thank you, Nick, for that. So this is from James. These are my 2 cars. Well, one running at least. My daily driver is an 04 WRX wagon rolling at almost 200,000 miles. I bought it around 2013, had over 127,000 miles on it, no real mods, access port, tune, a little power, Fortunato. Coilovers, more or less, it's been my daily driver. The other car was the original 1987 RX-7 Turbo 2, Racing Beat Rev Turbo 2 exhaust, about 200 wheel horsepower and 200 wheel torque, 5 PSI to 9 PSI, back down to 5 PSI, redline. And bought it off my cousin in 2012 or 2011, was a former Michigan car, sat outdoors, and was someone's daily driver. And so unfortunately he did blow up the car, but it is what it is. So the car looks great. Overall, gotta love, of course, an FC, and gotta love a WRX. I really do like WRX wagons. I've never driven a WRX wagon, but I like the look of them. So thank you, James, for that. This one is from Toby. He says, I doubt you'll ever be in my area, but if you are, you're more than welcome to review the most average car to ever exist. Please don't mind the dirt on her. It's the middle of the winter, so the garden hose is shut off, and the nearest car wash is 2.5 hours away. Oh my gosh. Thinking of names, as I've only had her since February, and suggestions would be appreciated. The only one I've thought of is Rihanna the Rio or the Silver Shadow, but I'm indecisive. Looking forward to your next video. The best, from Toby. So, I have not reviewed this generation of Rio. I would absolutely love to, and if I'm ever in your area, I actually will hit you up. I don't believe he left a year on this. I'm guessing I think this was after, I think this was like '03 to like '08, '09 body style, I think. But yeah, I mean, you don't have to have a really cool car to be a car enthusiast. And it seems like you really appreciate the car, you really love the car, and that's really all that matters. Keep it clean, try to wash it as much as you can with your frozen garden hose, and car wash being 2.5 hours away, that is insane to me. But yeah, I think you honestly have a really solid car here. I like Rios. I don't mind Rios. They're a little bit bland for me, personally, but you know, if a car works, it works. This one is from Dakin, and it is just a picture of an FBRX7. Looks pretty clean. Has the stock GSL wheels on it. I think it's a slick top too, which I like. So thank you. All right, so that will wrap it up for this video. I will continue with these next Friday, 2 p.m. Central Time. Again, if you guys want to submit your cars, the email is down at the bottom. And if you're down for me reviewing it, please let me know. We can work something out. Just be sure to leave your location and information about the car. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys again next Friday. Take care, guys.